Hey everybody, it's Mighty Monday, and I'm here with Sister Stella and Sister Barbara, her mama. Say hi.
Hi.
And Papa over here in the corner.
Howdy, partner.
He'll be sharing his testimony next Monday, and he's going to correct whatever Stella messes up. He's going to tell the truth about her. All right? So be blessed, tag and share this with somebody, and God bless you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Stella. I'm going to give my testimony. I'm going to start by just speaking about not when I first came into the world, but about my parents and just the things that, I went through when I was growing up, which really wasn't bad because my parents, they were good parents. They didn't do drugs, they didn't party, none of that stuff. Um, but they always provided. They always made sure that me and my siblings that we had what we needed and all that. So I just thank God that He blessed me with the parents that I have. Because to be honest, there ain't no other parents like them. So sorry guys, but hey. And so I just want to say that I started doing drugs, and I was doing it. Not only was I doing it, but I would sell a little here and there and stuff. And I wasn't a big shot, drug dealer or anything like that. But I mean, I did, sell a little bit. Not that I needed the money because I didn't, but it was just something that I did. Am I proud of it? No, I'm not. Would I go back to it? No, I wouldn't. Um, and then of course, I did the drugs. I did them so bad that when I would get paid once a month, I would make sure that I had my mortgage paid, my bills paid, all that I needed to get paid, and then the rest of it would just go blown on drugs. Till one day I finally just said enough is enough. I was tired of the life that I was living, so I decided, you know what, I wanted to make a change, and I knew I couldn't make the change without God. And I already knew God. Growing up, we would go to the Catholic Church and all that, and then in '91 I gave my life to Christ. But when things would get rough for me, I would have my foot half in and half out. And so finally, I was just like, you know what, no more, no more. I'm tired of the same thing, going back to the same cycle. So then in 2004, I got sick. Oh, let me back it up. In 1999, I had a real bad asthma attack to the point where I stopped breathing. And my brother came in and he called the paramedics and he just started praying. And the Lord told him that I couldn't pray on my own. I mean, that I couldn't breathe on my own. That the Lord would have to breathe for me, and that's exactly what had happened. As soon as he said those words, my brother heard those words. I started breathing again. So I thank God that he was right there. That he saved me. Not only did he save me physically, but he saved me with having a relationship with me. I mean, he chose me to be his child, and so I'm very thankful for that. But it just doesn't stop there. I mean, I've been attacked with my health for so long, different, things wrong with me, that in 2004, I ended up in the hospital, which I'm going to read a letter that my sister had printed up for me, and it'll explain everything what she saw, what the doctors told them, what my family went through while I was in the hospital. Um, I believe I was placed there because I kept saying that was it. I'm not going to do drugs no more. But we don't know our hearts. God's the only one that knows our hearts. He's the only one that knows, the which way we're gonna go, if we're gonna continue on the wrong path, the right path. So I believe in my heart that God had to lay me down for a few months and stuff because I believe that even though I said I wasn't gonna go back to it, I probably was. So I'm gonna read this letter to you guys, and it just says it was written on April 5th, 2006. And it goes to say, Dear Stella, I began writing you this letter on August 2nd, 2004, just 3 months after you were released from the hospital. I have continued to work on it little by little over these past 2 years, and tonight the Lord once again impressed upon my heart the need to record for you the events surrounding your hospitalization from your trip to the ER to your long stay in the ICU, to your amazing recovery by God's wonderful grace. When Dad dropped you off at the RCH emergency room at 6:30 a.m., the morning of February 19, 2004, none of us, including yourself, could have anticipated the events that would unfold over the next 2.5 months. Although you were in the midst of an asthma attack, you told Dad to drop you off because they were probably just going to give you a shot. You told him that you would call him to pick you up after they had finished. To you, these trips to the ER had become an all too frequent routine. You would go in, they would give you breathing treatments, perhaps some shots, or they might possibly admit you for a 2 to 3 day hospital stay. On this particular day, while you were in the ER, the asthma worsened to the point where you could not breathe on your own. So they put you on a ventilator so it could breathe for you. Even this was not new to you. You had been put on a ventilator twice before, once for 5 days and another time for a day. But this time, things took a turn for the worse. Andrea visited you while you were in the ER. She said you kept trying to talk. You motioned that you wanted the tube taken out, and you wrote down that you were scared. All the while, you kept coughing and trying to get air into your lungs. Later that day, you were moved to the ICU and then sedated because of the discomfort of the ventilator tube and the anxiety it was causing you. Over the next week, your condition did not improve. Your bronchial tubes were constricted to the point that you still could not be able to breathe on your own. You remained on the ventilator and continued to receive oxygen. A week and a half went by, and the doctor informed Dad and Mom that you had developed pneumonia. This was a very serious development. Now, not only were your bronchial tubes constricted, restricting the passage of air to your lungs, but also your lungs were filling up with fluid. This further affected the ability of your lungs to pump air in and out of your body. All the while, so many people were praying that the Lord would see you through this and that the Lord would make you well. You were on the prayer list of so many people who were praying to God the Father on your behalf. Your doctor told Dad and Mom that after 14 days, if you remain on the ventilator, you would need to be given a tracheotomy in order to avoid the risk of infection. He said it would also lessen the irritation and the discomfort to your throat. So on Wednesday, March 3rd, they gave you a tracheotomy. The breathing tube was now attached at the neck through an incision in your trachea. Shortly after this, they performed a surgical procedure to insert a central line into your upper chest so it would be easier to feed all the different medicines and nutrients straight into your body. It was not long after this that you developed a bacterial infection in your blood and your body began to swell. You remained sedated through all of this. Meanwhile, we all continue to pray for God's healing. We would learn later that your lungs were so inflamed that at night you would sometimes go into coughing fits for up to an hour at a time. One cough would just trigger another cough as your body naturally reacted to all the irritation and inflammation. The nurses would then have to shoot lidocaine, which is the medicine dentists use to numb people when they work on their teeth, straight into your lungs in order to numb them. If your body could not feel the irritation, it would not respond by coughing. One nurse likened the condition of your lungs to when a person gets a sore or a cut, which gets infected. It gets red, puffy, swollen, and then it begins to ooze. This was the condition of the lungs, or of the condition inside your lungs. They were infected, they were red, puffy, swollen, and they were oozing. I remember talking to Andrea on the phone one morning. You had now been in the hospital for about 2.5 weeks. Your condition had worsened, and by now your body was swollen. She said she cried herself to sleep the night before because she did not know if you would make it through this. I tried to encourage her. I told her that so many people were praying for you and that we had to trust God. I prayed with her. We prayed for you. But I also knew that it was possible the Lord could take you home to be with him. I was scheduled to go to a women's retreat that weekend, and I began to wonder if I should go. I prayed, and the Lord showed me that he wanted me to go. So I went to the retreat knowing that I would see you again, but not knowing if it would be here on earth or up in heaven. On the very first night of the retreat, the speaker shared with us Hosea 6:1-2. Come and let us return to the Lord, for he has torn but he will heal us. Heal us. He has stricken, but he will bind us up. After 2 days, he will revive us. Then she said, I believe this is a prophetic word from the Lord for all of us this weekend. Later that night, I went back to Hosea 6, 1 and 2, and I realized that verse 2 continues on, and it says, on the third day, he will rise us up, that we may live in his sight. Over the weekend, I went back to these verses several times, reading them, pondering them, and meditating upon them. On Monday morning, after I returned home, I was praying and going over my retreat notebook when my eyes fell upon the verses from Hosea. I then prayed verse 1 and 2 for you. I asked the Lord to heal what he had torn, to bind up what he had stricken, and to revive you in 2 days, and on the third day to raise you up. But I also prayed, Lord, I don't even know if I can pray these verses for Stella. If these can't apply to her, but I am going to pray this for her. I added, Lord, not my will but yours be done. Then I cried, not knowing if the Lord would heal you on the third day and restore you here, or if he would take you to heaven and you would be healed for all eternity. That night we went to visit Manny and Michelle. Manny, Michelle, little Manny, Tim, and I were sitting in the kitchen discussing your condition. Manny asked if Tim and I had seen you recently. I had not seen you since I got back. Manny then proceeded to tell us that your body was even more swollen, that your eyes were bandaged because they were bleeding, and that even with the ventilator breathing for you, you were still gasping for air. He told us that on the previous day, he and Michelle had gone to see you. After seeing the condition you were in, he was grieved. He wanted very much to talk to Pastor Armando. He had planned to call him when he and Michelle got home. They stopped at Juan Pollo on the way home to pick up some food. There inside Juan Pollo was Pastor Armando. God is so awesome. They sat down and began to talk. Manny said at one point, he just broke down and cried. He then went on to tell us that he had begun to pray that if the Lord was going to take you home, that he would do it before your condition and body deteriorated more. With tears in my eyes, I told him that I was praying that the Lord would heal you, but also praying for the Lord's will to be done. The next evening, I received a phone call from one of my pastors. He said he would go the next day and anoint you with oil and pray over you. He quoted James 5:14-15, which says, Is anyone among you sick? Let him call for the elders of the church, and let him pray over him, anointing him with oil in the name of the Lord. And the prayer of faith will save the sick, and the Lord will raise him up. I was greatly encouraged, so the next day the pastor anointed you with oil and prayed for you. Later that morning, there was a small bit of improvement in your blood gas levels. When the nurse told me, I said, Praise God. Then she said, In the name of the Lord. I was so excited. I told Tim about the improvement, and he said, May this improvement be like when Elijah prayed for a rain. 1 Kings 18:41-46 tells of when Elijah prayed for rain, and how he then sent his servant to check the sky. When his servant looked at the sky, he couldn't see any changes. Elijah prayed 5 more times, with his servant checking the sky after each time, but still he could see nothing. Then after praying a 7th time, he again sent his servant to check the sky. This time the servant said, There is a cloud as small as a man's hand rising out of the sea. The Bible goes on to say, Now it happened in the meantime that the sky became black with clouds and wind, and there was a heavy rain. Tim said, just as God poured the rain down upon Elijah, that we should pray that he would begin to pour down the improvements upon Stella. And so we did begin to pray this for you. This was the 3rd day since I had prayed Hosea 6, 1 and 2 for you. The Lord had not taken you home, but other than that small improvement, nothing else had changed. I then prayed again, Lord, the 3rd day has passed, but your timing is different than our timing, and your days are different as well. I know that you have given me Hosea 6, 1 and 2. So I trust that you alone know when that 3rd day will be. From then on, you continue to have ups and downs, but with that seemed to us as no real progress. Not too long after this, we learned some more information concerning your condition. One of the nurses gave me an explanation regarding the lungs and their elasticity. It is necessary for lungs to have elasticity so we can breathe in enough air to provide oxygen to our bodies. When we breathe in air, our lungs expand. When the lungs begin to tighten, depending on the degree of tightness, they lose some of their elasticity. This in turn causes pressure to build up in the lungs. The nurse went on to say that when a ventilator, the pressure in healthy lungs might be around 15. At this time, probably 4 to 5 weeks after you were admitted, the pressure in your lungs was 37. On the day you were put on the ventilator, the pressure in your lungs were at 60. When she told me that, I was greatly amazed. Amazed because it provided a visual picture of just how sick you were the day you walked into the emergency room, and amazed because although we couldn't see it, there had been some improvement. But the nurse cautioned that you were still a critical young woman. She said that the lungs take a long time to heal when they have suffered trauma. Everyone continued to pray. You now had been on the ventilator for over 7 weeks. Although your condition had improved some, every time they tried to wean you off the sedation medicine, you would become anxious. Your heart rate and blood pressure would rise, and this would affect your breathing. So they continued to keep you fully sedated. The nurses then informed us that your blood pressure was high. It continued to be high over the next 4 days. The doctor did not know what was causing this increase in your blood pressure. By now, we were beginning to get discouraged, but God is so faithful, and He meets us right where we are at. On Thursday, April 8th, one of the housekeeping ladies was speaking to Dad and Mom about your condition. She shared with them Philippians 4:6-7, which says, "Be anxious for nothing but in everything, by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your mind through Jesus Christ." She also shared with them Romans 12:12, which says, "Rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing steadfastly in prayer." But both Dad and Mom were greatly encouraged. When Mom shared this with me, I was also greatly encouraged. The Lord was ministering to all of us to be patient, keep hoping, and to continue praying. I shared this with one of my friends. She said it's almost as if she needs a breakthrough. On Friday, although your blood pressure was still high, they were able to lower your oxygen a bit. On Saturday, the nurse decided to change your blood pressure cuff. They kept one on your arm so they could continuously monitor your blood pressure. After she changed it, your blood pressure went down. Later that day, they lowered your sedation medicine from 100% down to 19%. You began to wake up. You seemed to understand that you were in the hospital, but you were very emotional. Dad and Mom prayed with you. The next day, April 11th, was Easter Sunday. After almost 2 months in the ICU, 1 month after your first small improvement, and 3 days after the Lord urged us to be patient, to keep hoping, and to continue praying, they lowered your sedation medicine to 9%. You were now responsive and laughing. You recognized those who were coming to see you. However, because your muscles had become so weak from lack of use, you could not lift your arms or even hold up your hands. You could not speak because of the trach. That evening, Dad and Mom went to visit you. You were awake and alert. You were no longer receiving any sedation medicine, and the ventilator had been turned off. You were now breathing completely on your own and were only receiving low levels of oxygen. You were very calm and had been breathing on your own since 3 o'clock that afternoon. All of us were praising God when Mom called to tell us, for we were all at Manny's house for Easter. That night, as I considered all of this, just in awe of what God had done, and pondering how the Lord had brought about this healing on Easter, He reminded me on Hosea 6:1-2. He showed me that on Saturday He had revived you, and that on Easter Sunday He had raised you up. We celebrate Easter to remember that Christ died for our sins, and that on the third day He rose again. The significance of you being healed on Easter was that it was the third day, the day the Lord had laid upon my heart to pray for you. According to His timing, not mine, I just praised God for all He had done. God did not stop there. He did indeed rain down improvements upon you. You were told that you would need speech therapy to regain the use of your voice. We were also told that you would need to spend 4 weeks in a convalescent hospital for rehabilitation to regain the use of your muscles. And also that you might need to be fed through a tube that would be inserted into your stomach so that your throat would have time to heal completely. On Friday, May 7th, you were discharged from the hospital. In the 3.5 weeks between April 11th and May 6th, you were able to speak just as normally as you had before you got sick. The trach was removed. You were able to eat meals and swallow your food. And you were up and walking with the aid of a walker. You did not need to have any speech therapy. You did not have to be fed through a tube, nor was it necessary for you to go to a convalescent hospital for rehabilitation. The Lord had his hand upon every aspect of your recovery. During the entire time you were in the hospital, Dad and Mom visited you almost every day. They spoke to you, they prayed over you. They oversaw the care the doctors and nurses were giving you. They played music for you. Mom would put lotion on you because your skin was very dry to the point of flaking. She would try to keep your hair under control. Sometimes they just sat with you. If you were to ask them about your condition, they would say, "Don't worry, she is going to be okay." After you were taken off the ventilator and your condition had greatly improved, your doctor told Mom and Dad that at one point he did not think you were going to make it. He noted that Dad and Mom were firm in their belief that you would be healed. So many people came to see you while you were in the hospital. Family, friends, people from your church, people from Dad's church. Some came specifically to pray for you. Some came to sit with you. Some came to read to you. Some even came to sing to you. God is so amazing. It is my hope and prayer that through this letter, you will better understand that God's love for you is unfailing, that he has a plan for your life, his perfect plan. Know that he is at work in your life, and that though times are difficult, he will see you through. He is not, nor will he ever leave you or forsake you, but he will be with you always until the day he calls you home to be with him. I love you, your sister Stephanie. So that's just one health issue that I went through. Let me see. And by the grace of God, I'm here today. I mean, when I think about it, it does get hard for me, because it's like not only did it affect me, but affected all my loved ones. And just reading this and just knowing like what they went through, I wasn't just hurting myself. So when I woke up, that was it. It was like, no, I got to change. I got to change my life and, do better for myself. And so that's what I started getting my life together and stuff. And then in 2017, I had to have surgery on my trachea. I had to have tracheal stenosis done. Because of the 2004 incident, I had the trach, and from the scar, I got scar tissue. So I was having really hard time breathing, and they had to put me on oxygen. Or that was in 2015, I had to be put on oxygen. In 2017, I had to have surgery, so I was 2.5 years with oxygen 24/7. But let me tell you, I didn't let the devil get to me. I mean, yeah, I would get emotional. I would get depressed, because it's like, oh my gosh, I'm always sick. But you know what? That didn't keep me down. It didn't keep me down at all. I had to push forward because I'm not one to just sit back and be like, oh, poor me. I'm on the oxygen. Let me tell you, I was walking up Mount Rubidoux, dragging that oxygen machine with me. I didn't care. I would go up there like, I don't know how many times with my mom, my dad, my niece. I'm like, I'm not going to let it hold me back. I got God on my side. 2017, I had to have that surgery. They had to open me up. They had to cut my trachea, scrape all that scar tissue out. They had to put it back together and stuff. And it's been good ever since. I do get sick with the asthma every now and then. But like I said, just push forward. That devil tries to attack me through my health. I'm having problems with my feet. And I'm just like, Devil, get behind me, because you're not going to get to me. I mean, the Lord's brought me this far. You know, He doesn't want me just to feel sorry for myself. He wants me just to grow stronger. And that's what I did. And the Lord gave me these three. Oh, there is something I had to share with you guys before I share these scriptures. When I came out of it in 2004, because like I read, you know, they would put the earphones on me, you know, play music for me. And there was one song that just stuck to me, and that was Amazing Grace. Because everything that song's about, that was me. That was me. And let me tell you, my mom would be like, okay, Stella, can you sing another song, please? Okay, Stella, can you sing? But Amazing Grace, that's my song. That's the song the Lord gave me. And even to this day, I'll be bumping it and singing it. And so the Lord gave me Joshua 1:9. And He told me, He says, it doesn't matter that you get sick every now and then. Don't worry about all that. He says, be strong and courageous. Why? Because God's with me. He's never left my side. And I just hold on to that. And Psalms 27:3, though an army besiege me, my heart will not fear. Though war break out against me, even then I will be confident. So it doesn't matter what I'm going through, finances, health, whatever it may be. I'm not gonna. I mean, that war's already been fought. You know, it's already been won. So I'm not gonna fall to it. I'm gonna just be confident and know that I can get through it. And the last verse is Matthew 9:6. Lord told me, get up, take your mat, and go home. He's telling me, get up, take my mat, and walk. Don't just sit there feeling sorry for you. So I just want to just say that I hope this spoke to you, or maybe you know somebody that it will speak to. But you know what? Don't give up. Even when you're at your lowest, don't give up. Because let me tell you, when you get to that finish line, you're gonna be like, wow. I got through it. You know, I'm here getting to the end of my race. But don't let that lying devil get to you, because I don't. I mean, you can ask my family members. They'll just tell you. Every morning I get up, my YouTube's on. I'm praising the Lord every morning. I don't care. I could even be where I'm not breathing that good, but I'm praising the Lord. Why? Because the Lord saved me. He gave me salvation, and He saved me through all my situations. He brought me out of the drug scene. He saved me at least 2 to 3 times with just the asthma. And I'm so thankful for Him, and I give all glory to my Heavenly Father. And I just hope you guys were all blessed with that. I think there was something else I wanted to say. Let me see. No, that's not it. Oh, I already said it. Just that I can't feel sorry for myself, and that I just need to push through it all. But God bless you guys. Have a blessed day. Have a blessed night, and love you all.